You're listening to Racing Future Radio. Here's your host, Mr. Dennis Mills, with this week's guest, Mr. John Snobelen.
And so moving down to further west to the Western Fairgrounds, in London, Ontario, how are we doing there?
Huey Mitchell and company. I was there, I guess, a couple of weeks ago. And actually, our first race of the new partnership plan took place in London first of the month. And I went down there just to say thanks to Huey Mitchell and his team who really helped us with this alliance. A very unique thing in the world that we have this many tracks working together. It's amazing. And Hugh's been part of that leadership. Western Fairgrounds is important to us for a couple of reasons. One, it anchors really the southwestern part of Ontario. So they draw horses not only from the east and kind of Campbellville Road area where we have a lot of concentration of horses, but also from the west. From Sarnia, from Windsor, from that area, which has historically had an awful lot of standardbred horses. So they're really important to us. They provide a lot of the racing over the time of year where it's hard to race in the wintertime. And, they just got a great bunch of people there.
Well, why is it? What advantages do they have that they can provide more racing opportunity?
Well, the fairgrounds is, first of all, they're used to it. They've been doing it for a long time. They're well supported. They're well situated. They have a good fan base, and I think they have an opportunity to grow their fan base considerably. I think they're really looking forward to combine marketing with the other tracks, with the other 8 tracks that are part of the alliance, so they can increase the sale of their simulcast around the world and also their fan base right in London. They're in a good area, and they're great people, so they've got a great chance.
Now, what's happening to the west towards Windsor? Is there seems to be a lot of question marks in that zone. Are you bring us up to date there?
Well, the Snobelen family's farms are all from Blenheim, Ontario, so I get this question fairly regularly at the dinner table. It's germane to how I deal with my family. You'll know this goes back generations racing in that area. I mean, I remember being a little kid and the fair racing at almost all the fall fairs in the area, and we still have a little bit of that going on. Right now, we've got 3 tracks that are actively working with us on a transfer payment agreement that will keep them operating. One of them is Leamington, that's a track that's been a traditional fair track, had some fair racing last year, and are looking to expand and grow into more of a grassroots track. Dresden, Ontario, which has always had racing for as long as I can remember, and I've rode horses on that tough clay out in that part of the world. So I'm very familiar with that racetrack. And they've got an application in for some race dates. And, of course, our track in Sarnia, which is it's a big track. It's well lit. It's important to the local horsemen because it is such a great track, and they'll have racing there. So we'll have racing at all 3 of those sites this year. What we're doing a little differently, though, is, and this is part of having the industry govern itself, we've asked those tracks to work cooperatively, to schedule racing in the way they think it'll fit the horsemen best in that area. We've really allowed them some flexibility around race dates, which used to be rather rigid and fixed. We'd be happier if they can sort out between them where we're best to have races, where the best audience is, what's best for the horsemen. And we're working to help them bring their schedule, into reality. So we'll sign a deal with them in the next few weeks that'll have, I think, much better than 40 days of racing a year in that part of the world.
John, you've talked this morning a lot about collaboration in the industry here in Ontario. And I found during my 9 years experience in the States that the collaboration amongst the various ownership groups in the United States, I found that collaboration was really not one of the strong suits in the industry. You've mentioned collaboration a lot today. Are you finding that there is some kind of a renewal of spirit going on here? Or talk to us a little bit about how you get these tracks to collaborate with one another when usually they're all shooting at one another or trying to tip each other's canoes.
Sometimes I think that we're in an industry that was trained by John Wayne. Everybody's pretty independent and pretty strong and strong opinions, but a little less on the collaborative side. Yeah, there's truth. That's true of the horse industry, period. But sometimes things happen that bring us together, and the closure of SARP did that. And, Rahm Emanuel, the former chief of staff to President Obama, once said that you shouldn't let a good crisis go to waste. I think maybe that's the opportunity for the industry. There was a really tough time when SARP ended, and I think the industry's kind of come together because we've had to and need to think together and present our product better. That it's not a quarter horse product or a standardbred product or a thoroughbred product. It's horse racing, and that's it's important for us to know that's our public face, and that's what we need to tell fans and horse players. So I think there's a growing sense of that, that we need to work together, that this isn't going to work unless it works for everybody.
Well, we in Ontario are very lucky to have you, along with your experience, as sort of a beacon of hope, as a center where people can call or meet to, governments sometimes don't have a point person for a crisis. And I have to compliment you. I haven't run into anyone in the business in the last year that doesn't feel that your accessibility, your caring, your work ethic to try and make this right is right there. And I think that's one of the central features why people are collaborating, because they know that you're kind of like the coach and like we're all going to get through this. And boy, we're lucky to have someone who's a horseman right now quarterbacking this through a very difficult time.
Well, thanks. It's a lucky break for me when you get a chance to work with the people in this industry closely. I mean, that's great. For me, I said when you start out in the sale barns, when you're a kid and you get to a place in life where maybe you can help people out at a much higher level in the industry and a much more important level in the industry, the folks who invest in the horse racing industry, it's great to be part of that, although only a small part of it. Dennis, if you need a list of my detractors, I can give you an endless list of
Well,
those.
you have to have a few in order to be legit. You couldn't, if you didn't have a few, but on balance, it's all been pretty good.
The truth is there had to be a lot of will in this file from a lot of points of view, and I think everybody should be congratulated. I think the horse folks stuck with the game when it was hard to stick with, and that's just true of horse people. They're going to stick with it.
John, thank you so much for your support, your dedication, and good luck. Keep it going. Hope to have you back soon.
All right, enjoyed it. Thank you.
Okay.
You've been listening to Racing Future Radio with your host, Mr. Dennis Mills. This week's guest was Mr. John Snobelen.